Proceeds to sickbay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
It is the way in which we propagate our species. Please demonstrate how this is accomplished. So, what's next? I don't know.
Hi, and welcome to Casual Trek, a Star Trek recap and ranking podcast brought to you by Nerd and Tie and Tiny Wormholes. Please, for God's sake, stop putting your dick in it. I'm Charlie Etheridge-Nunn, a writer and a fan of the role-playing game Paranoia.
And I'm Miles Reed-Lobato, all hail Master Computer, and also a fan of the novels of John le Carré.
And I'm Celeste Star Twin from the Salt Carrier Celeste. And I like visual novels.
Each episode, we watch stories from 3 different Star Trek shows and rank them on a big list from best to worst. We both love Star Trek, but as it's far from our first fandom, that makes us the ultimate objective voice on such a task. And this episode, we have a returning guest. We have Celeste. Yay!
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, last time we talked about the Trill with you, and now it's time to deal with another species, with those deliciously duplicitous Romulans. Celeste, what's your relationship with Romulan Star Empire like?
So I have a kind of a weird part of why I picked this one is one where I wouldn't have to get like a super personal about like my journey as a human being, unlike the Trill one. Romulans, I have this goofy connection to because the first Star Trek toy ship that I had when I was a little kid was the Bird of Prey from Balance of Terror.
Oh wow!
Oh, not even like the green.
No,
one. Oh man,
no, not like the TNG Onward Warbird. The Balance of Terror Bird of Prey, and I still have it. It's actually in our dining room at my house, so like it's a thing I still have, and I kind of got fixated on that ship for a long time.
God, one of my first was the TNG era. Like, was it Dideridex ships with that lovely kind of oval shape, and it looks kind of like it's in shadow already. And yeah, I've always kind of liked the idea of these are people whose currency is treachery, basically.
I love it. And then like as I got older, I just for some reason I vibed with Romulan episodes. I was always like, okay, these guys are wild. It probably didn't help that I saw Balance of Terror at a really formative age. So it was little me's like favorite Star Trek episode for a long time, and it still is right up there actually.
Nice. Well, yeah, for us it's what, number 3 on our big list.
It's way up on the big list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's number 3, right underneath Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Emissary, which was our longest running number 1. Unlike our current bottom list, which is Plato's Stepchildren. And
we did it! Lift us where suffering cannot reach was in fact lifted.
I don't have to keep trying to remember the correct pronunciation of that episode. I'm happy just for that. Because I'm sure I got it wrong many a time.
And even better, today we're going to get to talk about a Season 3 original series episode of Star Trek. While there is some acting, it's none of the Amdram nonsense we've had from the previous 2 Season 3 contenders.
Yeah, it's nice knowing that it wasn't all just like, show your improv skills, guys. But yeah, before we get on to that, Celeste, what non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying recently?
When I'm not screaming into the void for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Like, how have you been finding joy despite the current horrors?
So, this last year, as I implied earlier, I got really into visual novels. Tsukihime remake came out, and it is it's very good. Trigger warnings apply for some content, but I had a really good time with it, and now I'm reading a different visual novel by the same writer, Witch on the Holy Night. And it is, if you're not familiar with visual novels, it's a Japanese form of video game that's essentially just text over images, and there's not really gameplay so much as you read a story. And some of them are choose your own adventure style. Witch on the Holy Night is not one of those. It's just the story of a of a high school senior witch and her trying to figure out what her calling is in life, if she wants to be a student council member or if she wants to be this powerful mage. And it's dark and funny and just really beautiful. So that's kind of been my fixation of sorts.
Nice. My brother tried getting me into visual novels with, I think, Fate Stay Night.
Same
when we
writer.
were much younger. I don't know. I think we needed to download stuff for translation, and it never quite scanned right for me.
There's an official translation up for the first time as of like 3 or 4 months ago. So that might be worth your time.
Cool.
Tsukihime, I also recommend. Fate Stay Night, I'm obsessed with. People have seen me cosplay Saber for years, so
Oh, wow.
that's not changed. Saber and Rin. Sakura is the only heroine I haven't cosplayed from that game. So
Nice. Cool. And Miles, what about you?
When I'm not screaming into the void, I have admittedly just looking for something to watch as something completely brainless. No, it's not the season 1 Blu-ray of Blake 7, even though I did finally pick that up this week. I have been watching an old American daytime soap opera called Dark Shadows, which is mostly remembered from like episode 90. In an attempt to boost ratings, they introduce a vampire and then just throw in more and more overtly supernatural elements. It's a very kind of gothic horror tropey show, but I decided to start watching it from the beginning when it's more tone for the gothic horror,
and not literal monsters.
So it has the same aesthetic charm of this is shot on a really cheap set of William Hartnell Doctor Who, and that might be just why I'm kind of vibing with it. But each episode is basically people walking into rooms and going, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't tell you about the dark secrets."
The dark secrets.
The dark secrets that infest this house.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've just been watching like 2 or 3 episodes an evening.
Beautiful.
And it's the perfect way to just kind of like, I have something on, but I don't really have to be invested in like the huge web of lies, because it's very much like the soap opera drama of a Stan Lee Marvel comic, where it pretends to move the plot forward in a way that never moves the plot forward at all.
Great. Good. Yeah. Wow. Are you going to become the Dark Shadows hipster of like, oh no, I find it better before there were supernatural parts to it?
You know what? I might. You know what? Like, we'll see how the year goes.
Okay. Good.
So, Charlie, what non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying when not screaming into the void?
Well, when not screaming into the void, I've been reading the manga of Dandadan, which is just satisfying to say.
Yeah.
Like, Dandadan.
Dandadan.
So good.
It's so stupid. It's so brilliantly stupid. The first, like, bit of story, both for the manga and the anime, it's like, oh yeah, mild content warning for kind of things relating to an alien abduction, but as a whole, it's one of those things where I have been reading more than just manga lately, realizing my recent recommendations, but it's just so very bingeable almost. And in this case, you've got a guy who believes in UFOs, girl who believes in spirits and such, and both challenge the other to kind of go to a place and experience the other person's weird fringe conspiracy theory nonsense. And it turns out they're both right. And it's so much weirder than that. The cast, as it expands, gets madder and madder. The anime's done quite a nice job so far of adapting it. And I'm in, I think, chapter 130 of the manga and about 6 or 7 episodes in from the anime. It's been very good fun for a series about a boy whose testicles have been turned into weird mystical gold orbs and been stolen. So yeah, it's one that I don't know. Sometimes you just like something a bit dumb, and it is very good fun when it's harsh. Like people get fucking messed up in that series, and you go like, oh my god, this is horrifying and sad, and yet also, yeah, one of the people is Turbo Granny, a horrific ghost that's been put into a model cat and hates everyone. It's just been very good fun. So yeah, that's definitely been
I think people, it's like with Beavis and Butthead. People don't understand that to do stupid comedy, you have to. It has to be kind of smart. Otherwise, it is just kind of like idiots hitting each other with sticks, and we have enough YouTube videos for that. But to do like proper like dumb comedy usually involves some pretty clever decisions behind, in the making of the product.
It's also sincere as hell. And
oh my god, yeah.
Because its heart is just on its sleeve, completely visible. And I think that's part of why it's such a great story.
So yeah, that's all of us and our non-Star Trek talk. We definitely won't be getting off on a million tangents.
No.
For the rest of us. Yeah. So, first of all, we have Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 4, titled The Enterprise Incident. Extremely nondescript title for quite a fun, specific episode.
Not a good title, no.
It's alright. Yeah.
I'll be honest, the Enterprise Incident feels less like, diplomatic subterfuge and more like Bones had too many of Scotty's tacos when the Enterprise had Taco Tuesday, thus leading to what is called the Enterprise Incident.
Yeah, something they don't talk of that definitely happened on the ship. Yeah, exactly. That was the bad thing.
The time Chekhov went nuts due to Rigelian space flu and turned up to his ship naked.
Yeah. So this aired on the 27th of September 1968. It was written by DC Fontana, directed by John Meredith Lucas. The UK number one hit was The Beatles with Hey Jude, and the US had Jeannie C. Riley with Harper Valley PTA, which I didn't realise would actually be about a parent-teacher association before I heard it.
I listened to it this morning at the beginning. I like the first 30 seconds, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be really dumb and possibly like just really sexist. And then when the song kicks in and basically the Harper Valley PTA is a song where a woman is brought up before the PTA for being a bad influence on her daughter by wearing miniskirts and going out with men, and so she decides, fine, you all fucked around, and now you're gonna find out, and thus airs everyone's dirty laundry. And I was listening to it like, this may be the greatest song I've heard all year. If Dolly Parton had sung this song, this would be like a universally recognized classic.
Yeah.
I liked I loved the story of the song. I don't love the tune. I don't know what it might be growing up the way I did. There was an ad that had like classics from the 60s, and I heard that refrain on that advertisement so many times that I don't think I'm capable of deriving joy from that song anymore.
That is fair. That is why there are a million David Tennant Doctor Who music videos on YouTube, which are why I really have trouble enjoying the music of Snow Patrol.
That's fair.
Beyond the fact that Snow Patrol is, like Coldplay were bad.
Coldplay were bad. Hold up. Like, they already cleared that first bar pretty expertly, bud. Okay.
Like Coldplay are the Coldplay and Snow Patrol are the band that made me go, maybe we're too harsh on Ed Sheeran.
No,
never enough. So, quick question with Hey Jude. I listened to the 30-minute version. Celeste, how about you?
No, I listened to the 8-minute version.
The 8-minute version.
I did watch one with the footage though, so I could watch John Lennon not understand that who the song was for, even though his literal son's name is in it. Because like you can see it in John's eyes as he's harmonizing. Hey John, your wife sucks, but you're my buddy, and you are awesome.
Yeah, I saw the video for it, which I realise for the amount of Beatles I heard growing up, I've seen so few of the music videos for their work. So yeah, I stuck to the 8 minutes as well. So Miles, it was just you going through things.
Just me with like 12 minutes of na 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 na. I swear, whenever I've seen it played live, Paul McCartney has a little timer going, right, how long am I going to get it this time? How long until my voice finally gives out?
Yeah, can I beat the previous record for Na 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 Na's? Just like see if you can keep adding a minute or two to every performance.
We're here for it. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's still a fun song.
It's a catchy song. Like it's not my favorite Beatles song.
No.
But when you hear it, it's just like, yep, you know what? It's Hey Jude. It's gonna be the na-na-nas are gonna be in my head the rest of the day.
Paul, honestly, the Paul songs are usually my favorites on Beatles albums. So yeah, I'm a big Paul McCartney person. I can admit it.
Look, I'm the guy whose favorite Beatles song is a George Harrison song with "While My Guitar Gently Weeps."
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, it's a great pick.
So Celeste, I believe you're the one recapping this one.
Okay, I'm gonna do the thing.
All right, yeah. I am setting the timer. Okay, Celeste, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to recap the Star Trek TOS episode "The Enterprise" in 5 minutes. If any of your IM force are caught or killed, the Secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. Good luck, Celeste.
Oh no, Kirk is being snippy and weird. Bones journal, he's commenting on the fact that Kirk is being very on edge and everyone thinks that he's burned out and acting strangely. So he says that he has orders to drive the Enterprise straight into the neutral zone. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as they pull in, they are surrounded by 3 Romulan ships. They look like Klingon ships, but Spock is quick to point out that the Romulans have been using Klingon vessels. Well, 3 Klingon ships if you watch the original, but the remaster added a bird of prey. Why not? The Romulans give our boys 1 hour to surrender and say that if they don't, it could be a bloodbath. Kirk and Spock talk about how they were able to sneak up on them in the meeting room, and they act like they didn't encounter the cloaking device before. That's a little bit weird, but okay. Kirk is still acting crazy. He's getting angry at the other crew members who are making suggestions, and Spock is quick to point out, hey man, we wouldn't be in here if it weren't for you driving us straight into the damn neutral zone. They get a call again from the Romulans saying that the commander wishes to speak with Kirk and Spock. They seem fascinated with Spock's Vulcanness. So the Romulans offer a simultaneous exchange of prisoners. They'll send 2 of their guys over if Kirk and Spock come over to the Romulan flagship. And Kirk's like, if they try to take our ship, you scuttle the Enterprise, Scott. Doesn't even call him Scotty. He's like, Scott, you scuttle it. So they get to the Romulan ship, and scandalous, the Romulan commander is a woman? Shocking. So the very conventionally attractive Romulan commander in her awesome Romulan command miniskirt doesn't believe Kirk that they got lost and just ended up in the neutral zone by accident. But boy, oh boy, she is into Spock. And even when trying to catch Kirk in a lie, asks Spock, is it true that Vulcans are incapable of lying? And Spock's like, yeah, that tracks out. I think that's true. Kirk continues to not cooperate and is sent to a brig. But the Romulan commander offers terrible torture to Kirk, but Kirk is unfazed, and in return, she accuses Kirk of crossing into the neutral zone for his own glory. Spock does not defend Kirk in this. And the Romulan commander announces not only that Kirk is going to be held captive, but because it seems like Kirk is just being a crazy weirdo, the rest of the crew won't be held responsible. So Kirk is sent to confinement, and Scotty does not like that. Meanwhile, the Romulan commander is still laying it on real thick with Spock. Like, she just wants to really learn about his Vulcanness and talks about how cool Romulans are and how Romulans could offer him so much more. She also seems really confused about the idea of Spock being human and Vulcan. And Spock kind of makes it sound like the Federation doesn't promote Vulcans. So that's kind of weird. But the commander is like, on that note, you deserve your own ship, and you'd get a whole bunch of glory if you help me bring back the Enterprise. Kirk, meanwhile, resists in the cell, and he gets knocked out by the Romulans, and Spock finally agrees to lead the Romulans to the Enterprise, but only after Bones is beamed over to help Kirk. Kirk attacks Spock for betraying them, but oh no, he's killed by the Vulcan death grip. Kirk is taken back to the Enterprise, where Nurse Chapel finds him with Bones very alive and being like, hey, what's going on here? And Bones is like, no time. If you found out, I gotta prep for surgery. And then Nurse Chapel, of course, reveals there is no such thing as a Vulcan death grip. And they're like, yeah, we know. We were hoping the Romulans wouldn't. Turns out Kirk was only pretending to be crazy, and he and Spock were in cahoots and didn't tell Bones or anyone else so that they'd have plausible deniability. So they rom-face Kirk. They give him Romulan facial reconstruction. No.
Oh.
Oh, well. We'll try to get through the rest of it. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay. Just on the stopwatch now, and go.
So they rom-face Kirk. They give him Romulan facial reconstruction, and Kirk's like, bring me one of the Romulan prisoners. I need their uniforms. So they beam Kirk back over so that he can sneak aboard the vessel as a Romulan to steal their cloaking device. And basically every Romulan Kirk runs into is like, I don't know you. And Kirk is like, hiya! He's not good at stealth. Meanwhile, Spock is still with the Romulan commander. They got their square drinking glasses. She's being real sexy. She switches into like this super 60s ass cocktail dress. It's great. And she's like, we should, Spock, you need to lead the attack on the Enterprise. And Spock's like, I will, but I think it would be fine to do it in maybe an hour. So Spock's seems like he's kind of into her too. Meanwhile, Kirk just keeps beating up guards until he eventually gets to the cloaking device, unhooks it, and I swear to God, William Shatner looks like he wants to put it in his pocket. But he doesn't. He gets transported back to the Enterprise, and he's like, Scotty, you gotta hook this thing up to the Enterprise. Romulan commander is shocked. They've been betrayed. A spy stuck on board. They lost the cloaking device. Kirk is getting on Scotty's case. Come on, get this thing hooked up fast. But also, hey, Chekhov, you gotta go find out where the hell is Spock on there. He's the only Vulcan on the ship. It's like, yeah, but the Vulcans and the Romulans are really similar. It's hard to tell them apart. They do, however, successfully find Spock and beam him over, but they beam over the Romulan commander as well. She's a hostage, sort of. She's on the bridge. Kirk is using her as a bargaining chip to buy them just a little bit of time until they finally install the cloaking device, and the Enterprise zoops away, and the Romulans don't know how to follow. The Romulan commander is told that she'll be dropped off at a starbase as a prisoner. And she threatens, you know that this is only a short time. We'll figure out how to breach our own cloaking device. And Spock responds, yes, military secrets are the ones that are most easily or most quickly discovered. But I like to hope that our secret is something more permanent. Real sexy Spock move, I'm not going to lie. As we wrap this up, Kirk still hasn't taken off the Rom face. He's got the ears, and everyone on the bridge is like, "Hey, man, maybe you should like do that. That's kind of offensive." And
Yeah.
everyone laughs. The end.
2 minutes 58 seconds. So do you think Kirk?
Damn it!
Do you think Kirk ended up in HR again? For yet another, Vulcan related.
There's
Doing a
so
racism
much
Incident.
weird racism on this damn ship. I'm sorry.
Oh my god! Like I didn't realize. I didn't know the gag of this episode going in. So at first it's like, okay, right, Kirk's on edge. They'll probably say space madness or something.
Ah,
And it's like, oh my god, oh no, they're having Spock and Kirk having the messiest breakup ever, and they're making it everyone's business. And the way the crew react feels very similar to that. Of like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
all knew it was coming to this.
I legitimately love this episode, though.
It's fun, even though Kirk's attempt at stealth is like me playing any Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah, yeah, just
Yeah.
everything is whoop, and then just like,
Yeah.
rah!
The only one I've played like Metal Gear Solid 5, where the game wants you to like take time, make notes, like it wants you to just kind of know when there are shift changes. I'm like, I have a full-time job. I ain't got time for this shit. Do I have an Uzi? Yes. Do I have Rebel on my in-game Walkman? Yes. Sod it. I'm doing a Rambo. I'm gonna
Nice.
punch everyone I see and try and succeed the mission.
Yeah, Kirk's stealth is like a lot of my role playing groups where you go like, we've got stealth skills, but like
Yeah.
one of us is good at stealth, the others are good at hitting things, so we know what's going to happen here.
You almost gotta wonder if it was even worth doing the facial reconstruction, since he was just gonna go through the ship punching people anyway.
No, it really wasn't, and like maybe there as well. It's like we figured that you'd just beam on and start punching your way to victory, but like Kirk insisted. He was like, "I've not dressed up as these ones. I've been the others." But yeah,
I'm also I don't know how many people are on, because I could be wrong. I don't know that those ships have very big crews. So like there's the added factor of, I don't know that guy.
yeah. I did like how quickly it was like, no, we know how many people are on here. It's not you, mate.
It's just
Oh,
Kirk
shit.
just walking. It's Kirk walking through every room as conspicuously as possible. Just going, sorry, it's my first day. It's my first day.
Oh, yeah, Hitman style. Yeah. Oh my god, it was interesting seeing what they were doing with the Romulans having appeared in one episode before now, and suddenly, like the first one that appeared on the screen, I was like, "Oh, so you're not so secretive now? You're like, oh, rip the plaster off. They know that we're basically similar to Vulcans. Surprise is gone. Sod it," because they didn't appear before Balance of Terror, and then
Right.
it was such a revelation, and now we're like, it's not the same.
You've ruined it.
Yeah, so I guess it's fine us just casually appearing on screen in front of everyone.
I thought it was kind of weird. I again, not a deal breaker, but in the remaster, they like I briefly said in the summary, in the original version of the episode, the Romulan ships are just Klingon ships. They're just Klingon D7, and like you have a throwaway line about, oh yeah, the Romulans have been using Klingon ships. I thought it was weird that there was another bird of prey that just kind of like the one from Balance of Terror. That's just, I guess they had another one sitting around that was just like part of their group. Sure.
I guess so. Like, yeah, I know it was a cost-saving exercise for them, because especially back then, you could really see those corners getting cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always fun when they do that kind of thing.
Yet TOS and other people's ships are not a big thing usually.
Yeah, the hand stuff between the Romulan commander and Spock was like, okay, they're like, getting involved in a way which for Spock feels incredibly intimate, and for anyone else it's just messing around with hands a bit.
The trouble is with the messing around with hands is I can't help but think of the film Barbarella,
Mm.
where
Very much the opposite of the Vulcan vibe.
In the future of Barbarella, traditional sex has been replaced by holding hands and taking a pill.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'll say this. This is an episode that, as I was watching it, every time we had the scene with Spock and the Romulan commander, who we don't know her name, we never hear it. She whispers it to Spock, but we never hear it. One of the things every time we had those scenes, all I could think of were, I know that there were a lot of fan letters, especially by the third season, of a lot of women who thought Spock was this very attractive and sexy character. And there was this part of me that's like, okay, DC Fontana, she understood the assignment. She was giving some quality fan service to the ladies at home, frankly.
Well, yeah, I'm sure in previous, earlier episodes we had Spock was even more emotionless and wouldn't have been as involved as he was here. But yeah, going okay, people
So
are into it.
this part is did Kirk specify this as part of the mission? Is this this is Kirk's King's okay, I'm gonna dress up as a Vulcan. I think this is a bad idea, Captain. And then me out if the Romulan commander is a woman, you're gonna have to seduce her while I watch.
Yeah, it doesn't work if he's not watching.
The Romulan cuck chair.
Oh God.
Their cuck chairs are far more advanced than our own.
It's such a core part of their culture.
I swear. Kirk's... Okay, first of all, Kirk's plan makes no sense.
No.
Because the cloaking device, guess what? I think they know who nicked it. It's this is... I've actually also... I've been watching some classic Mission Impossible this week, which was also another Desilu show. And yeah, Mission Impossible, this is not, because this is the stuff, I hate to say this. This is the stuff you get Section 31 for. A crack team of people who are trained to do subterfuge and stealth.
You don't think we should just put Kirk in Rom face and have him go around punching people? Because
hey,
I like that plan.
It's hey, who do we get for who do we get for our super secret in war mission, which if we fail could lead to all-out war between the Federation and the Romulans?
Oh, the most famous captain, obviously, and the
I had
flagship.
this idea. Who's that? Who's that guy? Who's that guy who's climbing a mountain? Well, Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Let's get Shatner on a mount for this one. And who else should we entrust? What about this guy? The guy who says doesn't lie, but is a compulsive liar because he's nicked the ship about 3 times already. Yes. This is a plan with no drawbacks.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
I really did like Nimoy's performance in this episode.
Oh yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah,
Nimoy is good. Did either of you notice that with the cloaking device, that the top of it is Nomad?
Yeah, I did notice. I was going to say Kirk is reunited with his metal son. What
maybe that's why Kirk actually wanted to steal it, because my boy, what have they done to you?
This was, I hate to say it, Nimoy was on his A game. This was not a good Shatner episode. The pauses that we joke about were actually appearing, the weird pauses, and it was
we've seen Shatner go. I think we've definitely seen Shatner go full ham for this, and yeah, for given that their plausible deniability is that Kirk has gone nuts, you would think that there would be more of the kind of Kirk just trying to be crazy.
Yeah,
and just Kirk just clearly having a case of the Mondays.
Being snippy at his crew and being a little too excited to scuttle the Enterprise. Yeah, like, because that's really what it...
Well, like, do most people that get a bit snippy just do something like dive into the neutral zone? It seems like such a weird, specific, kind of minor, but also extremely illegal thing to be doing. We'll take it out joyriding.
It's true. Sometimes when I'm having a bad case of the Mondays, I'm like, you know what? I got to go to the Korean demilitarized zone and just hang out there. I think that'll work out for me.
Look, whenever I have a bad case of the Mondays, I drive to the American-Canadian border and just start punching every single... Just walk up to every single Canadian, say in my most British accent, "Hey, I'm Canadian like you." And when they say they don't think so, I immediately just punch them in the face. That's why I'm not allowed in Canada anymore.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah.
That I'm doing it dressed as Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5 was an obvious takeaway.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. Okay. Sure. Well, on that note,
I do have to say, in terms of fashion choices, the lady, the female Romulan captain, yep, the shortened miniskirt in the grand old Star Trek / anime tradition of just it being the normal outfit, but stopping just below the butt. Do you think the thigh-high go-go boots were her choice or a uniform requirement?
If I were in charge of the Romulans, it would be a uniform requirement, frankly.
Well, yeah. We've not seen other Romulan women, so I assume this is just standard military dress for them.
I really do like the TOS Romulan uniforms. It was nice to see them one more time, and I think this is the one more time we see them, not counting the weird reconstruction uniforms in that bad season finale from Strange New Worlds, but yeah.
So, with all that in mind, we have a big list. We've mentioned it briefly at the start of the show, but currently it stands at 139 items.
Good heaven.
Yes, we've gone through the highest and lowest points of it, and we need to find somewhere to place this episode.
I think this is a fun episode. I don't know that it's a amazing episode, but
yeah, it's that thing of we've been enjoying it despite some flaws that we've all been pointing out about. Just the daftness of the plan, the whole rom face thing. It's
Okay, sorry, you keep saying rom face, and I'm just imagining that Kirk has been made up to look like a Ferengi.
Oh, that'd be great too. I mean, if they knew of Ferengi, he would do it.
Yeah, he would want to. Yep. He'd be like, Bones, we gotta do
Look, here is my plan to steal the new Romulan cloaking device. Okay, Captain. First, I'm gonna disguise myself as a Ferengi.
Nope, don't like this.
Captain, may I ask, WTF?
Is this an intentional bout of space madness?
And then, dressed as a Ferengi, a 6-foot Ferengi, I'm going to sneak aboard a Romulan warship and punch everyone I meet.
God. I mean, I would love to see the swollest Ferengi. That would be amazing.
It's only a slightly worse plan, though. Like, it's not meaningfully worse than what he actually did.
I'm just thinking, like, the Captain Kirk as a Ferengi would be like the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures equivalent of a Ferengi.
Oh, absolutely.
Just trying to find a good starting point here of, like, where would we want to go?
Okay, well, we have, in terms of other season 3, we have the Empath at 65.
Oh, and, yeah.
Like, okay, is this better or worse than the Empath? I mean, the Empath had a lot of weirdness, and okay, again, Shatner is not at his acting best because he's doing the slow-mo.
Yeah.
But it's a really good Bones episode, and I kind of love it for that jump cut of Sulu and of Scotty going, I'm sure Kirk has got whatever's going on, like, nipped in the bud, and immediately cuts to Kirk in the bondage dungeon, shirtless and bleeding.
To be honest, I think this is probably better than the Empath. Like, we've got some nice tension. As much as I love wacky space bullshit, I always like a bit of a spy mission.
I feel like it's below Errand of Mercy, for what it's worth. Maybe. Oh.
Errand of Mercy, which is the first appearance of the Klingons, which is season 1 of Star Trek, episode 25, and is currently 54 on our list, and number 1 in Charlie's heart for just have some actors run around a castle set.
Yeah. I mean, I like running around the castle anyway, so yeah, it's nice seeing it there. Yeah, my eyes did go to that originally because I was like, oh yeah, with all the talk of Romulan face, we have a lot of the unfortunate,
really unfortunate
blackface going on there. But it's like, but this is in character, not in the real world, at least.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I know we joked about in Errand of Mercy how Core, I think it's Core, who is clearly trying to seduce Kirk, and Kirk is not. We have the Romulan commander trying to seduce Spock, and I think Spock's kind of into it.
Oh no, he was super.
He's definitely into it. Like,
he's super down.
They're having the charcuterie and everything.
Okay, cool. So, what, better or worse than Errand of Mercy, are we saying then?
I would say I don't know. I would say worse because Errand of Mercy, has a fun plot and an interesting angle with there being like the much more powerful third party who's just stringing both sides along.
Yeah.
Whereas this is Star Trek doing Mission Impossible in like the most Tom Cruise-y way of it just being less like an espionage mission and more how insane can we make this? Can we have Captain Kirk hang on to a helicopter or have Captain Kirk climb
the Wiz Khalifa?
Yes.
Yes.
It's like, we can't afford that. Okay, can we get him in rom face? The budget extends to the rom face.
Okay, good. Yeah, we've got some spare ears on set. Yeah, so looking a little further down at 57, we have from last episode Night Terrors, which was very good fun. I think that's probably better than this.
Yeah.
Okay, Carbon Creek again, a couple of spots lower down.
Oh, man, Carbon
Creek is
so good.
Carbon Creek is like, it's... I think in all the episodes of Enterprise we have watched so far, I think it's this and North Star, which is at number 50, which have been the standouts.
Yeah.
It feels... It's like, okay, yeah, some of Enterprise's best is better than some of TOS's more middling attempts.
Okay.
Even though this did have some Amdram, but it's more Spock trying to get his flirt on.
Yes. Yeah, and the fact that I'd completely, like, I bought into the lie early on. I was like, yeah, space madness is a thing. Like, we normally get that. I feel quite pleased for their convincingness of the ugly breakup kind of angle of it all. Okay.
I do like one last thing.
Yeah.
When Kirk beams onto the Romulan ship, it was very clearly an Enterprise corridor, just with a different lighting.
Yes.
That's what you change in the special edition. Not just add-ins. I wish I could watch the original episodes because I'd rather see like the original special effects than, I'll be honest, some not very exciting CG at times.
I bought Blu-ray specifically so I could have the original versions. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Under that, we've got Forsaken with the, Odo and Loxana stuck in a lift. And the weird kind of self-aware viral thing going on inside DS9. So, yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know, because like, there's some really good... I like the character stuff in the Forsaken. Yeah. And if we go down, we're at Genesis again, and I swear, like, how many times is basically Genesis our benchmark for what is an average episode of Star Trek?
It's because it's just on the higher end of the halfway point. So, it becomes what Encounter at Farpoint used to be. That kind of, we're just going to keep hitting Genesis of that, better or worse. And I think Genesis is better.
I think Genesis is better. Like, Genesis is the Thunderdome of our Star Trek big list. Can we get beyond Genesis? Oh man. Oh.
Okay, maybe we're less above the empath than I originally thought here. Okay, so we definitely, our floor is the empath. We got Whom Gods Destroy, which again got some fun craziness going on there.
But a lot of that, more Amdram.
Oh yeah. Stars at Night. Like I know it's Shax's second best day, but
I think the Enterprise incident is better because, like, for Shax's second best day, the episode is good, but what makes it genius is that 1 60-second moment of it being Shax's second best day.
Yeah.
And above that, in number 62, we have Observation Effect, which is another good episode of Enterprise.
It is. It's surprisingly good fun.
So I'm down to put it between Observation Effect and Stars at Night.
Nice. So that makes it our new 63 on the list.
I'm good with that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good spot for it.
Excellent. There we go. Next up, we have our second episode for night, Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 7, titled The Enemy. This aired on the 6th of November 1989. It was written by David Kemper and Michael Piller, directed by David Carson. The UK number one hit was Jive Bunny and the Master Mixers with That's What I Like. And the US had Roxette with Listen to Your Heart. So, like, Jive Bunny and the Master Mixers, I remember there being some tracks like this in late 90s, early aughts. I did not know there was one this early. Of this kind of, like a mashup, but not a good mashup.
No, it was terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Yeah,
I hated it.
It's like, it's like, our music technology was still getting to the point where we could mash up with disturbing ability. But yeah,
I love Girl Talk, and Girl Talk All Day is one of those, if I need to get pumped up, kind of stoked going to work in the morning or anything like that, I will listen to that, which is a glorious chaotic mashup of like hundreds of different things. I like some of these tracks, and this just really didn't land.
Well, like, the only thing that made it tolerable for me was the first track they sampled, Let's Twist Again, like we did last summer. I lived in the international dorm in college, and there was this guy from China, and that song became really popular with Chinese men on the internet circa 2008, 2009.
Wow.
And I don't know why. But so I was just having flashbacks of hanging out with Jeffrey, and then it was like, God, this mashup sucks. It sucks so hard. I hate it so much.
Yeah, and Roxette's one of those things. I'm sure I've heard the song mostly sampled in like TV and film.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever paid attention to it as just a song.
I've heard this. I've heard "Listen to Your Heart" a million times before. I don't like it much, but I like it more than Jive Bunny.
Yeah. See, every time I hear the name, I keep thinking Jive Bunny and the Mixmasters, because Mixmaster is a Decepticon.
Yeah, he's Devastator's foot.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah, for our surprisingly non-zero Transformers-loving audience.
Two of your American guest hosts are Transformers collectors. That's Sean and me. How does that make you feel?
That's 100% of our American guests.
Hey, with Matt Hardy, that makes it 100% of our guests.
100% of your guests. There is a non-zero amount of crossover with Transformers.
Oh my god. Of course, we are currently threatening Matt to come back and go through the Star Trek Transformers comic, if any of us can actually find a copy. So, yeah, hopefully for his sanity we can't, but we probably will. And
Hit them up on Discord or Blue Sky if you can get them one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, Miles, I believe this is over to you to recap it.
Yup.
Okay, I will set a timer. So, you've got 5 minutes, or you're staying in the hole.
Oh, damn it.
Again.
Yeah, starting now.
The Enterprise is responding to a Romulan distress signal from Galondon Core, which is a planet on the edge of the neutral zone. It has a lot of stormy, rainy weather, kind of like South Wales, which interferes with the transporters and communications. Riker, Worf, and LaForge beam down, find a Romulan ship, and find a really badly injured Romulan, who Worf promptly punches in the face and beams back up. LaForge, on the other hand, falls down a very deep, dark hole and so is trapped on the planet. Unfortunately, the storms are getting more and more treacherous, so Riker and Worf have to leave. By the time Geordi's able to get himself out of the hole, he can't communicate with the Enterprise. On the ship, Dr. Crusher is trying to treat the Romulan. The storms are actually causing neurological damage, and she needs to find a matching donor of a kind of chromosome to keep him alive. More on that later. Wesley comes up with a plan. We can send like a neutrino pulse probe down to the planet, and Geordi could reconfigure it so when we have a window in the storm, we can find him and beam him back up. And Picard goes, "Wesley, turns out you are good for something. Make it so." Crusher is going through crew, and only one person has the genetics necessary to do the transplant. Man, I really hope that this person doesn't have like a long-standing cultural and familial beef. Oh dear God, it's Worf, isn't it? Yeah. Because Romulans killed Worf's parents, and he's got a bit of a grudge. And when Crusher goes to him and goes, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And he's like, I can say no, right? And Crusher goes, "Yeah, you can say no, but this guy will die." And Worf goes, no. And Worf's off. Meanwhile, on the planet, Geordi finds the probe, and also there's another Romulan. Turns out there were 2 Romulans on the planet. He is heavily wounded, and also he has a gun. Geordi tries to do the, "Hey, we have to work together, otherwise we're not gonna survive." And the Romulan's like, "Yeah, no, F that." Meanwhile, on the Enterprise, there's a message coming from the neutral zone. There is a Romulan warbird on the very edge of the neutral zone trying to contact this Romulan ship, and it's led by Romulan Commander Tomalak, who is a suave son of a bitch. When the Picard tells him, "Hey, you kind of violated a treaty by having a ship out here," Tomalak's like, "Nope, that's not what happened. It was just a misunderstanding." They went off course. Picard's like, "Hey, we have a survivor. We could kind of work something out." And Tomalak's like, "Yeah, nothing bad better happen to that survivor." And everyone kind of looks at Worf, and Worf just looks off the side like, "Yep, no clue what you mean." Meanwhile, the storm is causing more and more neurological damage to both the Romulan, who is called Bokra, and Geordi's visor, leaving Geordi blind and Bokra unable to walk. Now Geordi can't fix the neutrino pulse because, he knows what he can do, but he can't do it while blind. Meanwhile, Worf goes to see Riker, and Riker's like, "Look, mate, I get it, but you want the Romulan to die because of what he did. You hold him responsible." And Worf's go, "Yeah, I don't see why that's a problem." Riker goes, "Yeah, but Klingons and humans had the same problem. We were at war. We had to bury our differences when we became allies." And Worf's like, "You have a point, but fuck you. I'm gonna let him die. And so, Worf goes to the sick bay to see the dying Romulan. Crusher's like, you gotta help him. And Worf's like, no, I don't want to. And the Romulan's like, yeah, I would rather die than let your Klingon physiognomy pollute my own. And at no point does Worf go, hey, look, hey, you see, he said he didn't want it. I have a moral out. But no, Worf's going to be a sassy little bitch about this. Butcher and Geordi giving instructions. They're able to like lash up the tricorder and the visor to be able to find...
Oh dear. Oh no, those storms. The storms have got too much. Yeah, you're going to have to remain in the hole for the duration now. So, let's carry on.
Meanwhile, the Romulan ship, Tomalak and the Romulan ship have crossed into Federation space to meet the Enterprise, and Picard really doesn't want this to set off an open war between the Romulans and the Federation. So he calls Worf and goes, Worf, I respect your wishes. I could make it, and I could order you to do it, but I don't want to order you. But if the prisoner dies, this could cause a chain reaction. And Worf's like, I understand that, sir, but I'm gonna be a bitch. I'm gonna let this guy die. And Picard's like, right, fine, Crusher. Don't hassle Worf. We have to respect his wishes. And Crusher's like, yeah, too late. The Romulan died. Oh shit. This is gonna get pretty bad. The Enterprise and the Romulan Warbird face off. Both sides, unable to trust each other. Tomalak's just like, yep, you let my one single Romulan die. Well, looks like we're gonna have a shooting match. Shields up, weapons ready. There's a break in the storm, and they can detect Geordi and another Romulan. Wait a second. Tomalak was just saying this was a one-person gig. Ho ho! Picard gets on the blower and says, okay, Tomalak, there's another Romulan down there. We can rescue him, but we're gonna have to trust each other. But I'm gonna be the one to trust by lowering our shields and being defenseless so we can beam our guys aboard. Picard lowers the shields, and they're able to beam Geordi and Bukra back onto the bridge. They're safe. Shields up. Picard messages Tomalak and goes, hey, we found the second guy who you said there was only one guy. So maybe if we just give this guy back, we can just forget this ever happened and go on our way. And Tomalak very slimily agrees. Geordi takes Butcher to the transporter room to get him off the ship, and they can escort the Romulan bird of prey to the neutral zone. And as Picard kind of relaxes and very clearly lets one out, Picard mentions that brinkmanship is a dangerous game.
Ooh, so that's 2 minutes 37. And Miles, and Celeste, did you happen to notice cameo from someone that would be much more famous in something else later?
I think that Will Wheaton is in the guild once or twice.
Yeah.
But Will's a recurring character, so there we go. Yeah,
probably doesn't count.
I mean, like, I know that I think Brent Spiner ends up in a cameoing in The Big Bang Theory. Is that who you meant?
No. Centurion Bokra is John Snyder, who played Reinhardt in the recent anime of Pluto. Obviously.
Oh, holy crap!
Yeah,
that makes me so happy. Oh man, Pluto is. Yeah. Everyone needs to watch Pluto.
It's so good.
Side note, but or read the comic, or better, but do both. Just do both.
Yeah, both is good.
But no, I didn't realize. Oh, that's so awesome!
It's the ears. You couldn't recognize him.
I couldn't recognize him from the ears. Yeah, it's that. There's like the weeb, the anime TNG crossover. There's a lot of stuff to break down there. Will Wheaton would end up being in Gundam once. The set designer kept throwing anime references in places. So, but that's kind of neither here nor there. No, that has me excited. The first thing that stuck out about this episode to me is how good Star Trek is when it's firing on all cylinders as an ensemble show. Because this was a very everybody had something to do episode.
God, like so much of it, like Planet Hell looked like they've used the Planet Hell set a lot.
Yeah.
But it looked so inhospitable. It looked so unlike the kind of red sky backdrop. Here are some foam rocks that you used to get in the first couple seasons. It was like, yeah, this is horrible. This is unpleasant to be in.
The thing that I noticed, so I was watching this on my phone this morning, is that Geordi is clearly wearing a different different material for the uniform, because it has all the rocks and gunk on it. Like, he's clearly wearing a much thicker uniform, so the extra stuff is just not either soaking through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looks like he's wearing like some pleather instead of whatever kind of imitation lycra they're wearing for the uniforms.
Well, yeah, because he and Bokra look messed up by the end of it.
And LeVar Burton is firing on. This is like everyone in the ensemble is delivering, but LeVar is really good in this one.
Yeah, like you mentioned that, like, yeah, yesterday, and like, man, I swear, anytime LeVar Burton gets to act with his eyes, his acting chops like jump up like an extra 20%. I mean, I've never seen him in Roots. I'm British, so I've never seen Reading Rainbow. I think LeVar Burton might be the only kind of one of the few Star Trek actors who my wife and I both want to meet, but for entirely different. Me for Star Trek and Rihanna for Reading Rainbow. And
Captain Planet, you don't see.
Captain Planet. But no, even when he's blind and doing the Velma from Scooby-Doo bit, like, there is some fantastic physical acting.
Selling it.
He's
really selling it.
That, like, for Star Trek, we very rarely don't talk about like physicality outside of Doug Jones as Saru. To go back to your first point, Tomalak is played by Andreas Katsulas, who is better known for being the one-armed man in the Harrison Ford 90s remake of The Fugitive.
Okay.
Oh, and also he's Jakar in Babylon 5.
Yeah.
That's
like hearing that voice. That was so good. Like, the Jakar voice being used. Oh, yeah. It was great seeing him be kind of both imposing and obviously completely up to dodgy things.
Yeah, he's definitely like, you can see very much season 1 Jakar here, when Jakar is very much being framed as he is going to be the villainous one of the show, even though that's not where the show goes at all. And
this really was just a nice cross-section of why TNG is a good TV show. Like, honestly, that was my big takeaway from it. Was, I don't know that I would ever list this as a favorite episode, but if I had to be like, hey, why is Star Trek The Next Generation a good TV show? No, this is a good episode to look at. Like, it's
yeah, they like, I loved that Worf didn't back down on it all. It was as repetitious as it sounded, with people going, hey, Worf, this guy's really fucked up and he is gonna die. I know Dawn wasn't a fan of that decision early on, which, you get possessive of a character a few years in. So, of course, you're going to go like, oh, no, I don't want my guy to be a baddie with it. But sometimes when a lead character can play the antagonist of it and go like, yeah, no, like, culturally, no. Murdered family members, like, not him specifically, but this culture did that. So, fuck it, no.
You know how we joke that in Genesis, Worf definitely killed an Acer guy? I think for the enemy, this one, Worf definitely killed a guy with malicious intent.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an ugly side to the character, but it also gives the episode more staying power, though. Yeah,
it's like the thing we talk about, like, I feel like one of the problems we have with TNG is that it very much falls into that the Roddenberry ideal of there is no conflict between our main characters, and it's like no, this is the stuff that makes the conflict work, because it's very much a cultural thing. It's very much, it's a conflict of the differing cultures. And while the show definitely presents as a negative one, with Worf, like, everyone who goes to him saying, "Hey, Worf, can you do the thing?" and he refuses them, their response is, "I disagree, but I have to respect your decision. I can't force you, even though if we forced you, you would comply."
Mhm.
Yeah. It was interesting for that. I did find, I don't know if I can't remember if the Romulan that's dying is named in the episode, but the name looking on Memory Alpha was Patak, which is a slight different spelling of a Klingon insult as well. It's like, was that intentional? Did you intend for him to be a proper Patak?
Okay, one more bit about acting. The scene with Patrick Stewart in the ready room, when he's all but begging Worf, and then when Worf says no, just just some fantastic, just Patrick Stewart, just his face just hardens.
Yeah.
And like Stewart really sells what is at stake for the diplomatic aspect of the story. I'm sorry, I just keep going back to it. The ensemble is so strong in this episode. Yeah. The writing is so tight. It reminded me of issues that I do have with the drawn out serialized Star Treks that we get sometimes, of you could fit so much in that 50 minutes as opposed to how little we get in 50 minutes of Discovery sometimes. And I like Discovery.
Yeah, I definitely had that feeling when I was watching LaForge trying to get out of a hole. It definitely had that feeling of, we wouldn't have an episode where the big conflict is, can someone get out of a hole? And, this is just a thing of the week.
Yeah, like, while there are larger ramifications of what's going on, it does when it cuts back to these, like, the survival of like these two guys stuck in a fucking cave, it sells it. Like, I liked, before starting on the show, how I would basically sum up TNG, with a little bit of being snotty, I admit it, is that TNG is a decent show, but has an ensemble cast who are punching up some not great scripts. But this is very much the case of, this is why I think Star Trek The Next Generation is more culturally resonant than the original show at times. Yeah. Because it is that strength of fantastic writing and an amazing ensemble cast delivering their A game. Even when, like, just Wesley just has to sit around and just throw out ideas. Like, the moment when Riker's like, we might have, like, Geordi might be dead. Like, you see just, like, Wesley very clearly just distraught by the idea.
Yeah.
In Riker's cabin, was he having a little espresso or a little shot before he had to talk to Worf?
It could be both.
I mean, it's Riker, it could be either.
I'm going to give Worf a dressing down. This is definitely... I'm problem solving. I've had espresso.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe an espresso martini if it needs a bit of both.
Yes, also, Brian, what the perfect makeup of an Irish coffee.
Yes. So if that's all we've got for the enemy, we need to find a home for it on our big old list.
Let's find a home for the enemy. That's just a fun phrase to say, really.
Let's see. It's a tricky one because we've got some good TNG on here, and as you said, while it's not groundbreaking or kind of like best thing ever, this is like, if I was flicking through channels and saw this, I would be remaining here.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I think that's one of the things that we've kind of lost in this age of streaming 13 episode shows, is that yes, making a 13 episode TV show like The Wire is a masterpiece in of itself, to keep all the parts, moving, to keep the tone consistent and to keep the themes and the plot going forward. But we forget that sometimes just episodic TV, when you're doing like 23, 24 episodes a year, is to make episode 15 out of 24 be worthwhile television.
As I would say,
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to just have the reading rainbow guy helps an alien get out of a hole.
Yeah.
Like, that's real. Like, that's,
Yeah, okay. So looking at some of the TNG on the higher end of it, we've got things like The Big Goodbye in spot number 46, which are our first Dixon Hill episode. It's good fun, but it's kind of jarring as well of that newness of the holodeck to apparently all of Starfleet
Yeah.
at that point,
I mean,
where it's
Picard's a little too excited.
Puzzle takes like, I mean, in terms of Star Trek, which has Dick, esteemed character actor and Corman bit player Dick Miller, on the big list of that, the Big Goodbye is like number one, and everything else is just second best. But as much as the Big Goodbye has some nice, like guest stars, I always love Data getting into character, and that one gag with Data and the lamp.
That was so good. Well, Data and the Historian both keeping touching everything.
Yeah.
They're so excited to be in a kind of period drama.
Here is my impression of Data in the holodeck. Yep, that's real.
Yep, he's touching it.
He's touching it.
Okay. Good. Yes, yeah, we're in a rare episode where two of the hosts are in the same place, which allows for this kind of thing. Because if I try,
allows for fantastic audio.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
really great for this. Yeah, this audio medium.
Hang on, Celeste. Let me pass you this whale.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
Yeah, if only you could see the video. I am holding an entire whale. It's amazing.
Impressive, and it's not even our whale episode yet.
Yeah, I know we'll get to one. Just
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, save it there for later.
It'll be
okay.
fine. It'll be fine.
man, I really hope to remember to edit in some sound effects for that.
Okay.
Number 38, Deja Q.
Ooh.
Which is another great ensemble
Mhm.
with added John Delancey.
Now, that does mean that we'll have skipped past number 39, which is Sub Rosa, which is a glorious mess of, yeah.
This is not a good ensemble, but damn it, they're trying.
Yes. Yeah. Attempts were made.
Yes.
Yeah. Not sure what of. Possibly not even a Star Trek, but yeah. There were attempts. Okay.
Patrick
So,
Swayze was popular. It seemed like a good idea at the time, okay?
yeah. Okay, so are you saying above or below Deja Q?
I am gonna say above.
I
Okay.
believe that.
Cool. And we've got Spock Amok above that with the fun body swap episode, which, is hijinks ensue. And this episode of TNG is very much not hijinks, but in a good way.
Above, oh man, I would say,
Yeah, I've just looked above.
Number 36, A Taste of Armageddon.
Okay. I think that's probably better.
Yeah,
I'd agree that's better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like A Taste of Armageddon is the most Doctor Who, the most classic Doctor Who of Star Trek, which is Kirk and Spock arrive at a civilization, which presents to be paradise. They immediately realize in 10 minutes that this is bad, and immediately go, right, Spock, how long has it been since we last toppled a corrupt regime? And Spock's like, well, it's been a week. And Kirk's like, exactly, we need to keep our finger in.
Damn straight. Okay, so what, below Taste of Armageddon, above Spock Amok?
Yeah, and Taste of Armageddon, as much as I like to joke about the 80s shoulder pads of the Romulan costumes,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Taste of Armageddon has the best outfits by just having, this is what the Thunderbirds characters would be wearing, but in real life.
No, that's
Yes.
fair. That's extremely fair.
Excellent. Okay, so that puts this...
a show that Celeste has been promising me for years that they'll check
I'm gonna
out.
watch the puppet show. Okay, I'm gonna get to the. I like puppets. I'll get to the puppets.
Oh my god. Yeah, there are some very daft, very fun things with the puppet show.
Yes.
And a really good board game, actually. The maker
Oh,
of
I
Pandemic
believe
made a Thunderbirds board game, and it is so good.
Look, if it's good enough for Miles and it's good enough for Hideaki Anno, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
It's I got to see the puppet.
Fair.
But I think I could convince people more to check out the puppets than I ever can with Blake 7.
Yeah.
I think Blake Severin is higher up on my list. I have to admit. I know.
I saw this fantastic message on Blue Sky, which sums it up, which is, someone talking about how they can get people into Classic Who, but just they always kind of fail when it comes to Blake 7. And the message was, I showed my wife Classic Doctor Who, and she became a lifelong fan. I showed my wife an episode of Blake 7, and her response was, I see why you enjoy this.
Ooh.
I'm glad you enjoyed this.
Like trying to get my partner into Exo Squad, it was very disappointing.
My wife eventually got me into the Red Green show, but first time I saw it, I didn't. The Red Green show for Charlie is a Canadian comedy show which is parodying like local TV, kind of local handyman kind of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I didn't get it the first time I came to Wisconsin, but after nearly 2 decades of either visiting or living in this state, I kind of get the appeal of why this show is so funny.
You got used to the winters.
I got used to the winters.
You know how much we love hockey here. You fell into Red Green's flannel embrace.
Yeah, but I having met Midwest rednecks, I get the comedy of Midwest rednecks.
Wow.
And duct tape.
I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.
Oh dear. Well, right. After that tangent and numerous others.
Sometimes it's clear I have gone terrifyingly native. Sometimes I even say "ope" unironically.
Yep.
One of us. One of us.
Oh dear. So, our final episode of the evening is Star Trek Voyager, and this is Season 1, Episode 7, titled Eye of the Needle. This aired on the 20th of February 1995, with a teleplay by Bill Dial and Jerry Taylor, a story by Hilary J. Bader, and directed by Winrick Colby. The UK number 1 hit was Celine Dion with Think Twice, and the US had TLC with Creep. We are entering the point where I actually knew of these things when they came out, and I don't know, I've never had a huge amount of time for Celine Dion. She's fine, but...
Didn't like that song either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, TLC's alright. I think they were the first CD my brother ever bought when we got a CD player was a TLC one. So there's always that kind of soft spot for that.
Creep at least had a good dance. Like, you could dance to it.
Yeah.
It felt good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Creep is definitely a dance club number.
Yeah. So, this time I'm explaining this episode, which... Back when we first started planning Casual Trek and different themes, I was like, "Oh, if we ever do a Romulan episode, this episode, because Star Trek Voyager, Romulans, what?"
Yeah, there's not a lot of those.
So, yeah, today I'm going to tell you all about it.
All right, and you have 5 minutes before the tiny wormhole collapses.
Oh no!
Oh no! God. Okay.
You should really stop shoving your dick in it.
I mean,
No.
I would, but it's right there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's why people do a lot of things in Brighton.
Yeah.
I mean, Elon Musk has taken all the ket from
Oh.
the level.
Yeah, the
Romulan
level
glory
people
hole.
just don't. Oh. God, I guess that'd be a good way of unselling the people on the level from ketamine. So you realise you're doing what Musk does, right, guys? They'd be like, oh no, but I've just nicked these bicycles for cat money.
I keep seeing a Cybertruck around Madison, and I'm just like, man, the Cybertruck wouldn't work in like a British or European town or city because the roads are too small
And badly maintained
and badly
as well.
What, the roads or the Cybertruck? Hey-oh!
Hey!
I gotta get in the habit of like loudly laughing at them when I see them,
just
because I want the people
point and laugh.
to feel bad.
Just
Like-
go, wanker! Oi, wanker! On that note, God, we promote our hometowns so well in this podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Good.
All right, and go.
So, the Voyager's hunting for wormholes, and fucking hell, Harry's only gone and found one! Good job, Harry! As they approach, they realise it's not far away, it's very small. 30 centimetres to be precise. They send a probe through a kind of wibbly green wormhole, but the terrain's too rough and the probe gets stuck. The good news is there's someone on the other side. The bad news is they're not sure where the other side goes. In sickbay, the doctor's seeing some guy with wanker's cramp, and he won't talk to him, just Kess. He's obviously prejudiced against holograms. Kess brings this up, and the doctor brushes it off. Sadly, he is way too used to this. Also, Kess wants to learn about medicine, as she's liked what she's done so far, but wants a bit more kind of doctor knowledge. The probe in the wormhole is going to last for 72 hours before it's crushed, as this is such an old wormhole, it's kind of shrinking with time. They should be able to get a message through. Tuvok doesn't like the idea of Harry getting his hopes up, as he is Mr. Killjoy this episode. But too late! He already has them as high as they'll go. They send a signal out, and they get a response, and it's from the Alpha Quadrant! Yay! We'll get to the catch in that shortly. Kess interrupts Janeway's soup time to have a bit of a chat. She wants people to treat the Doctor with respect, and Janeway's a bit like, but he is a hologram though, and a real surly one according to all of the reports. Kess says, look, that doesn't matter, he's still a person. People can be surly too. And that's right. That's true, actually. Janeway will have a think about it now. But she's got the wormhole to deal with. She announces herself through the wormhole and gets a shaky sounding reply. The person from the other side's from a cargo ship and doesn't believe they're in the Delta Quadrant, so he hangs up. Tuvok mentions, that name, that's a Romulan ship, probably a science vessel given the wormhole. So, of course they're going to be wary and hang up on you. Janeway summons the Doctor for a chat. He was unceremoniously deactivated mid-task and has a bit of a moan about all that. Old J-Dubs says she doesn't have the luxury of the Doctor doesn't have the luxury of thinking of himself as a hologram anymore because he's too essential. He's part of the crew and should have control of his own on-off switch, which is incredible in his eyes. He's asked if he has any further requests, and she doesn't quite know the hell she's unleashed by giving the Doctor an inch, frankly. At night time, the Romulan phones up. Janeway answers, and while he doesn't trust the Voyager, he's willing to entertain that maybe they are in the Delta Quadrant. She explains what's happened, and that while he still thinks they might be spies, he agrees to take on some personal messages from the crew. After a bit of time, he's back. He wants to see who he's talking to, and he's been up to some science. He's got an experimental boost he wants to try, and while the video's flickery, sure enough, there's our lad. He's spoken to the government who are going to have a think about this whole message thing. And that's fine, but Voyager doesn't have long until the probe's crushed. Janeway asks, does he have family? And yeah, to his regrets, he's got a wife and a daughter who was born while he was on this mission, and she'll be 2 when he returns. Janeway mentions, well, we've got family too, and it will take way longer than that, possibly our whole lifetimes to get back. Can't guarantee success at this, but, she's got him on side, so he'll give it a go. Elsewhere, B'Elanna has great news. The visual boost is something that they can play with, hijack, and maybe try beaming over. Kes has also got some good news. She's loving reading medical texts. She'd kind of like to see an autopsy, not for weird reasons. Kind of wants to see one.
And if the body in question happens to be Neelix, well, she won't complain.
It's not too bad. But yeah, the Doctor's upset when it looks like he'll be left behind by everyone when they beam off the ship and into the Alpha Quadrant, and asks, just switch me off. You know, it's been an undignified life already. Janeway explains her plan for Romulan, and they beam over a cylinder of matter. And it works. It's a bit shaky, but it works. And he won't allow them all on his ship because it's like got a lot of secrets in there, and he can't have them looking at his secrets. He could call for a troop transport, and that might work, and he offers to beam over just to test that it works on people as well. It does. Again, it's a little shaky, but it does. And the Romulans in the Delta Quadrant. That's cool. Tuvok is, of course, the fun killer once again and mentions it's shaky because this Romulan, he's from 20 years ago.
Oh. Okay, so what do you think the Romulans' secrets are?
His secrets? Well, he's been looking at the little wormhole, so he's probably been putting his dick in it.
I don't. I'm thinking. I'm thinking Mills and Boone. I'm thinking like trashy romance paperbacks.
So he's out in the middle of nowhere for 2 years doing a science research thing. What, is that into Earth culture to go, we've found Mills and Boone, they have 1 million volumes. It's going to take a lot of reading.
Maybe the secret is, as we implied about the Romulan cup chair in the first episode, let's have a daughter he's never seen.
Yeah, just... You know, his wife's going to town on anyone back there, and he's got a video feed but no way of interacting.
But he does have a wormhole.
Distance of a country. Anyway,
And
we need to find out what's up with this 20 year gone, Romulan. So
yeah, I started the stopwatch.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah. So Janeway isn't entirely the Janeway that we know and love yet. So she's actually concerned about wrecking the timeline. That will change. He does say he'll take their messages. You know, he could always warn them ahead of time and get them not to go. And she's like, no, even that'd be bad. So yeah, he'll take the messages, and after 20 years, he'll post them over to the Federations. That'll be good. So yeah, fine. They give all of their little messages over to him, and he gives his name as Tomalak. So Tuvok, having been given a name now, checks the files and goes, guess what? It's not good news again. And Tomalak died 3 years ago by our time. So the messages just gone. Probably just gone. Now, they might have been passed on, might have been given to his daughter. Who knows? But yeah, oh well. And I think I looked up and they don't get passed on. So, oh well, on they go. Finally, that jerk, he's back in sickbay and gets talked down by a newly confident doctor. He puts that fucker right in his place and mentions to Kes he's working on a list of demands from Janeway. Also, he wants a name, which I know won't happen at this point. I don't know if he ever gets one. Please don't tell me. I will find out in time. The end.
1 minute and 43 seconds. I'm going to knock off that 5 seconds that I started the stopwatch early.
Wow. I didn't realize the name stuff happened this early.
I didn't realize that there were early Voyager episodes that were this good, but
Yeah, I vaguely remember watching the episode. I mostly remember the Voyager expansion for the Star Trek collectible card game. Yeah, because Tomalak was one of the only Romulan characters I had. And again, ever since having like a micro machine, like Romulan Warbird, I was like, I want to play for Romulans. Oh shit, I've got this. Yeah, there's this one scientist that was, I think, a rare card I had to buy for like £4 from a competition to my comic shop.
Man, four pounds and 90s money.
Yeah. I've again got a soft spot for Telekramor because of that, and also we get a very humanized Romulan at this point because he's a scienceman who's trapped on his own, probably going a bit mad, doing science stuff, trying to help out, but also extremely aware this is a random caller from nowhere, apparently, because this was a microscopic wormhole as far as spaceships go. 30 centimeters is not much.
Do you think you get spam phone calls in the world of Star Trek?
I mean, maybe.
Do you think like
you can't rule it
Quark
out?
gets inundated with calls about his holodeck's extended warranty?
Yeah, like especially from the Ferengi. They're going to be sending out spam messages, and oh yeah, I'm a Ferengi prince.
On Ferenginar, like cold calling is considered the most essential work, actually. Like,
yeah, that kind of thing.
You know that there is a world in Star Trek where, in the terms of the planets of hats, their hat is data entry.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that.
Yeah, definitely. God, for data entry planet. My nightmare and inevitable place that I would end up.
It would be called something like, it would be called Terry Gilliam 13.
Oh, God. Yes, yeah. So, this was a fun little thing and a rare glimpse of the Alpha Quadrant, even if it's just via a view screen.
Also a rare glimpse of like when there was still hope for Harry Kim, when he thought,
yeah,
when he thought he was moving up in the world like this.
I'm definitely going to get a promotion from this one. No.
I did wonder because he and Torres have a lovely chat about what's back home. Because we know about Harry's family, we know about Harry's Canadian girlfriend who definitely exists.
He's real, yeah.
Yeah, 100% real. You can't talk to her. We're in the Delta Quadrant. But, B'Elanna being like, yeah, I've got fuck all back there. Like, how many of the Maquis are probably in that same position of going, we're helping you with this ship, but, this is a step up. Like, we got nice Stigs here. We're just, like, we're probably going to die of old age before we get there, so fine.
I even liked the fact that B'Elanna is still very Maquis at this point.
Yeah.
And it makes me, going back to episodes like this, make me really sad that the Voyager writers, like, just kind of let things fall off.
Don't do any, do very little with characters who aren't called the Doctor or 7 of 9.
I mean, fair, yeah, because like
they forget you got a bunch of pirates here.
Yeah,
do stuff with it, and beyond like meld. I don't know if there's much that we'll see later on.
I think like Voyager and Enterprise's two flaws for me is that they start off with really interesting concepts and then completely never consider to do anything interesting with them. Like, I've been saying this on like the second episode. It's like, hey, it's really great that Voyager seems to take place in like a non-post scarcity area of space. We could do something really interesting with that. It's like, no, they're coming across like your average Star Trek planet by episode 2.
Or even like just the whole sorry, American politics are on my mind, but like the way the Maquis are treated in Voyager is reminds you of like the mainstream Democratic Party and like far lefties of, well, you're on our ship and now you have to give up all of the things that make you because it's for the greater good. But the problem is no one in the Maquis actually bats an eye at that after a while. It's just, in fact, you know what? Conformity is good. Let's all put on our black jumpsuits with the color shoulders. Like,
yeah, that is a problem with them of going like, we're after freedom and all these kind of things, but
also Neelix wasn't in this episode much, which was good.
Yeah, that puts up in the rank.
Yeah, it's nice seeing Kest not being just Neelix's child bride.
Yes. Even though I was like, someone get this girl like a podcast subscription so she can listen to some murder shows, because it's getting
oh god, when she was asking about autopsies, I was like, what is she like?
Charlie, you know how in our our most recent episode, which hasn't been released yet as of time of recording, you know how we're joking about would Neelix be into true crime? We forgot to. We asked the question: would Neelix be a murderino? I think the truth is, Kez would be the murderino in that relationship.
Oh. He got into it through her.
I mean, but like speaking like just from American women's perspective, one of the things my spouse and I did when we were recovering from the bad news of the last few weeks was we just put on Forensic Files. And like listening to these murder stories was part of how we calmed down. So maybe Cass is just like a basic American woman. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I think this is like one of the few episodes of Voyager where them trying to get back home is like the plot and not just generic Star Trek shit.
Yes.
Which I feel like they make a point of going, yep, we're not going to have every episode be like the old 80s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon and be an attempt for our heroes to get home, which will be squashed by the end of the episode because like we have a formula to stick to.
But at the same time, you have that problem that a lot of the Voyager episodes turn into low-rent TNG.
Yeah, I know DS9 fairly early on had like a statement about please write episodes that could not have worked in TNG. And this feels very much like almost a backslide sometimes with Voyager where they go, we got this interesting idea, but yeah, I guess you need to have them succeed, but also not get home, it's a difficult balance.
Tuvok, this was for Tuvok. This is definitely like this is his chance to be like the twist at the end of an episode of the Twilight Zone, the Outer Limits, where it's like, oh yes, it's not only a wormhole in space, but in time.
I did like that everyone kind of got it early. It's like, we don't need to elaborate further. It's 20 years ago. Cool. Yeah, we've seen this kind of thing before.
Yeah, this is Tuesday for us at Star Trek.
I also admit, and Miles I know is on the same page with me, I always have a soft spot for science fiction stories about the logistics of trying to contact home from deep space. Star Blazers / Space Battleship Yamato has a really beautiful episode about that in its first season that hits home really hard. When Makoto Shinkai, one of his first movies, is about space-time dilation and like a girl fighting in a mecha in the outer rims of space and how it takes longer and longer to send a text to her boyfriend back on Earth. And as like the time dilation continues, you're like, oh, she's never coming back, is she?
Oh, dear.
I always think of there is a 1950s British radio serial called Journey into Space. And for one of the serials, it's a fleet of ships going to Mars. And the voyage is 6 months to reach Mars because it's no fast and light. It is, we have shot ourselves forward and we're going to let momentum has to take course. So the radio messages between the fleet and Earth get longer and longer and longer, which is great, when they start losing contact with home, when they find out that a member of the crew might actually have been to Mars and is not who he says he is. And just that distance of communication because space is fucking big. Mm-hmm. And so you have that they send off a message and they have to wait 30 seconds for the message to get to Earth, and then they have to wait the 30 seconds it's going to take for the message to get back. One of the things that Star Trek has kind of made people forget in mainstream science fiction is that space is big and communication is going to be even bigger. I know, like the author Ursula K. Le Guin created a device called an Ansible, which is how fast and light communication can work.
See, when I was a kid, my dad used to read us Italo Calvino's Cosmo Comics, and this kind of thing always reminds me of the Light Years story where you've got a narrator who's looking at someone else who's like 100 million light years away, and they're showing up holding up a sign with "I saw you." and with how long it takes for the conversation, just in holding up signs and both kind of observing what goes on, and that paranoia of like so many years of figuring out like, what did I do? What day was it? Because of how long like takes to travel there.
It's like the best parts of the film, The Martian, where it's just them trying to work out how to communicate with Earth, and it's this Matt Damon just having to build like find the old probe, just get a whole bunch of signs, and then just keep hoping that the messages get picked up, so they can work out a much larger vocabulary.
Yes, good fun. So yeah, this one, while it was an early Voyager, I quite liked it. It was
same.
It's one that, as I said, I've been eagerly wanting to get on the docket for a while now. Well, since the inception of the show. So yeah, it's nice to finally get to that.
I really liked this one a lot. I'm Voyager is by no means one of my favorite Star Trek shows, but I have a soft spot for it.
Yeah, I also forgot the plotline with the Doctor, and of course, for the way it takes people to adapt to the Doctor as a person from the Doctor as a tool. And of course, he may have been made as a tool. Like chatting with Emma about the Doctor, because I think Voyager's one of the ones she's seen all of, or definitely more than me. And of course, like any person with a brain and a heart, the Doctor is a favourite character. So
Robert Picardo is so good.
It's so good. Although he looks quite young here.
It was weird
as well.
How
it was odd.
He looked.
Yeah, like for a guy who's like, bald and adult human there, it's like, yeah, it still looks young. We were talking about that kind of treatment of the Doctor where realizing, oh yeah, the guy that made this put his personality into this, and he's a bit eccentric and a bit of a prima donna and all that. And of course, no one would notice if you're like, yeah, need the EMH for like 10 minutes, just do this, go away, shut it off. No one's been subjected to the Doctor and his personality.
But thanks to the situation, thanks to Kez, they have now enabled all of the Doctor's bad behavior for the next 7 years.
Yeah, it's great.
Because how dare Kez meet this holographic Doctor and go, well, he's a person, he exists, I have no concept of what a hologram is.
He can make demands. He also has an ego and will make endless demands of Janeway.
I kind of forgot Janeway was like hologram prejudice. Like I remember it being brought up. They really.
I just whenever I think back to like characters who are holograms, I can't help but think of Arnold Judas Rimmer from Red Dwarf, one of the finest and multifaceted characters in all of science fiction. I will die on this hill. And
I agree with you on that.
And just the early episodes where Rimmer can't touch anything, and he just that great line where he asks Lister, I need you to be my hands, and I need you to be my touch, and Lister goes, I know you like to touch, Rimmer, forget it.
Yes. So actually I was thinking of Moriarty. At this point we are beyond Moriarty, so we know that holograms can self-actualize, but I guess it's not just not a widely known thing.
It was just really cool that like Cass got to really have like a meaningful, if not a little bit weird, personality. It was fun. It was actually fun getting to spend time with B'Elanna and like doing B'Elanna stuff, because a lot of the stuff that I like related to B'Elanna from later in the series relates to her relationship with Paris, not even like who she is as a person. So it was just really neat to see her as her own character for a little bit. And Tomalak was a really good wet blanket in this one.
Yep. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, sometimes he can be a bit like that, but, you need someone in that place.
And Tim Russ does it well.
Yep.
Oh, God, Tim Russ is always good fun.
And Harry Kim gets nothing.
Yes, as is his way, as the universe has decided. So, on our list, I was thinking of Tuvok there. I was just having a look at Meld, which is a season 2 episode, and very good fun, featuring, of course, role model Brad Dourif,
The dampest of human beings.
even more alien than he normally does with the Betazoid contacts in. Like, would this be above or below that? Because, like, characters are developing at that point, and we've got a good character show for Tuvok and for Brad Dourif. But this is another one that's got a nice, solid ensemble, and a nice Star Trek problem.
I've noticed, like, with most of our high-ranking Voyager episodes, they're definitely not doing, like, the kind of atypical, they're doing Star Trek stuff, but they're not the atypical for what Voyager is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think our highest ranking one is number 17, which is Death Wish.
Mm.
And then under that, it is the In the Flesh at number 31 and Drone at number 32. In the Flesh is the one with the fake Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I was just thinking, might this be better than In the Flesh?
I think it is because it's a very Star Trekky. No, it's a tech babble problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of meeting room action here, and
Yeah.
I'm always down for a bit of that.
And
Roger Waters isn't as whiny in this one, so
yeah. And it's bits where we have people like tapping keyboards in one room, and then you have people tapping keyboards in other rooms. Going, we need to have more of the thing to make the myth moth not work.
Oh, that myth moth! It's always so defective.
Like, the moment they contact the Romulan and they find out, it is a Romulan. It's like, yeah, but it's gonna fall apart somehow.
Yeah,
because we're on episode 8. I mean, it would be a really clever. It would be a really fun move for Voyager to set up a plot and a story hook in episode 1, and then just kind of undercut it by going episode 8. Go, oh yeah, we're home now.
It was just an 8-part story. I don't know what you guys were on about.
But it's like that, like that holds it down. But just the twist, I feel, is a clever enough one that it doesn't feel like anyone has done. Because, like, when you have stories where it's like, we have a way back home, or we have found something, we found the way to get to Earth, like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, or the Lost in Space, or Battlestar Galactica. When the moment the way of finding the solution to the plot has occurred, well, we know the show's over, so we know something has to go wrong. And in terms of the D&D cartoon, it's usually something will go wrong because Eric is a shit.
Oh, poor Eric.
Poor Eric. Like,
no, I'm not saying poor Eric. Eric got what he deserves.
No. Here's the thing. I get why Eric is a little bitch, because, like, if I was stuck in a D&D world where everything is trying to kill me, where I have an 8-headed dragon called Tiamat who is trying to kill me at every option, while this little dwarf guy is like, I can't help you, but you can help me, I'd be like, yeah, no. Like, I always love, like, the one episode of D&D cartoon where they have failed for the 50th time to get home, and they just go, we're kind of sick of this. We want to railroad the plot and kill Venger. Like, why don't we just kill Venger? Because that will make our lives easy. That will make this shit easier. So we're like, yeah, I like that we have, this isn't going to work, but it's not because Harry Kim is an idiot, and then Neelix decides to put his cock in the wormhole and thus break the wormhole. It is, we have a way home, but everything is designed to make sure we can't get home.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for Harry because, again, you give him... I was like, oh my god, they're serving up a win for Harry. We're not even 5 minutes... Oh, never mind.
It's like...
Harry Kim wormhole, the smallest wormhole in all of existence.
At what point do you think in Voyager's 7 years does Harry Kim, the character, not the actor, has just decided to quiet quit the rest of his Starfleet career?
What, just sleepwalk through? It's fine. Yeah. Oh, God. I mean, that said, we're getting him in Lower Decks at some point soon, so I guess we'll find out.
I'm excited for Harry Kimception.
Oh, hell yeah. So, better than In the Flesh, we've got the cage further up, which, of course, big, iconic thing, although,
I am I am a big Cage apologist. But,
I mean,
yeah.
above that, number 29, we have TNG's Pegasus, which has our boy John Locke.
Yeah. Yeah, God. Two podcasts that I listen to have done Lost special episodes, which I've been saving up for a special day. I don't know. I think like we've got a great character with old John Locke there. Don't get me wrong, Tomalak again, soft place in my heart, soft spot. £4 for a single card. Back then, 90s Charlie wouldn't spend that for anyone, but there we go.
How many comics would that be back then? Like,
God, back in the 90s, it depends. Like in the mid 90s, X-Men comics were either 80p or £1.20 for the deluxe versions on nicer paper, as they were trying a thing out.
Oh yeah, I remember that deluxe paper.
Yep. So yeah, you probably could have bought maybe 4 comics.
God damn it!
I know.
Fuck, nothing to be won these days.
I would say,
and I played all of maybe 2 games of that card game for the amount of cards I had. So I don't know, maybe below Pegasus.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable with being below Pegasus.
Like the Cage is good, but again, it's like the Cage is what the Cage is good, but I think you have a good 30 years of refining the Cage to just get out the really offensively sexist elements.
That's also true.
I almost went, oh yeah, it's foundational, but the fact that it aired much later. It aired in 1988, so it was formative to only the people behind the scenes. Ultimately,
it's very formative if you're the freak who says the Menagerie is your favorite Star Trek episode, and if those people exist, I wish you well, but you are following a path I cannot follow.
I don't. You're like people who like Robotech more than Macross. I hope that you get kicked in the shin by a small automaton.
Wow, I'm sure I heard someone say one of their favourite TOSs was Menagerie recently. I can't remember who. I know.
Get a small automaton to kick them in the shins. You can't do it yourself.
That is like saying the best Doctor Who episode is the TV movie. And yes, I know, Celeste, that was
my first Doctor Who story. It was Doctor Who, the TV movie. Yeah,
but there's that one hipster who was like, yeah, the TV movie is it. It's the pinnacle of.
I don't think it's the pinnacle of Doctor
Who. It's a movie.
I like it a lot.
It's a movie. Or or that one guy, like those 5 people who are like Peter Cushing is the one and only definitive Doctor Who. Although he is the only one whose name is actually Doctor Who.
Yeah. So he kind of is the definitive Doctor Who in that regard.
Wow. On that note, that brings it to spot number 30 on our big list, and that means that we are done. We are finished. So next time, shockingly enough for when we're recording this, next time's our Christmas episode.
My God.
Yeah, so we'll see whether or not Miles and I will gift each other a good episode or just a big honking lump of coal.
Let's see. You gifted me that one Enterprise episode.
One that was our lowest one for a while.
Yeah. I gift you my favorite episode of TOS with Conscience of the King. I think last Christmas I gifted you Far Beyond the Stars. So, and what did you do?
Did I not do Far Beyond the Stars?
I know.
I gave you a good episode last time.
Oh yeah,
I remember he did give you a good. I don't remember which one, but he did give you a good episode.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not all trash from me. So I don't know. I might flip a coin.
I don't know. I think I need to find something really stinky.
Oh dear.
I think I might have to just gift you Profit and Lace to save Celeste having to come back for Profit and Lace for our inevitably Star Trek fucks up gender episode.
Yeah, I'll come back for it, but I'm going to complain.
You are like Meatloaf. You will do many things for love, but you won't do Profit and Lace.
Oh dear.
My spouse and I are watching all of DS9. We've been going through it slowly but surely, and we're at season 6, and I'm like, oh man, we got some really good stuff coming up. But we also have Profit and Lace coming.
It's all right, we do need the occasional bottom shooter for our list. So, there it is. That and Code of Honor are ones that I do not expect any.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You either
So-
really should or should not have a person of color on for Code of Honor.
Yeah.
That'll be us next time anyway, our Christmas bonanza. Before then, obviously, Casual Trek still exists. We are on Blue Sky, as are so many million people now. We're even on the Nerd and Tie starter pack there. You can find us at casualtrek.bsky.social. If you want to see us enjoy or suffer through varied episodes of Star Trek, then throw us some gold-plated latinum.
Or send us some
Gold
gold lace.
pressed latinum, even.
Or some gold,
Yeah, just
go to Cheeky Nando's and get us a gold lace natinum.
yeah, just gold. Just give us gold, and I assume Kofi can do that. So yeah, go to kofi.com/casualtrek and just give us money. Suggest a theme, an episode, a character, anything really, and we'll build an episode for show around it. But we also have individual plugs. Celeste, as our guest star, where can people find you, if indeed you want to be found?
I'm hesitant on some things, but you know what? I'm striving for joy in these dark times. I'm frequently on Blue Sky at bluesky.com/Celeste is best. You can find me in the Nerd and Tie Discord under the Celeste is Best Discord. Come talk with me about the politics in Mobile Suit Gundam. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Celeste is Best. And of course, my video essays are under Celeste is Best. Or I think if you go Nick Izumi, the old name, you'll still find me on YouTube. There's going to be more video essays. Some of them won't even be depressing. So, yeah.
Exciting. Miles, what about you?
You can find me on milesreedlobato.bsky.social for my Blue Sky account, or mareedlobato.wordpress.com for my occasionally used blog. And Charlie, what about you?
I'm found on skyshark.bsky.social, where I mostly talk about X-Men RPGs and occasionally about Star Trek. Not to an intense level, but occasionally. Faked Tales is my blog, and I've also been trying to get the show notes for episodes up. So if you want to see Pedant's Corner, but don't want to look at the notes on the podcast itself, I get you. Come over to my site and you'll see them. And with that, I realise I know no Romulan phrases to be able to sign us off. So, keep knives out your back.
Go do a Romulan. Tell no one nothing.
Yeah, you didn't see us. Hey.
Are you a what do you call a Romulan spy who plays basketball?
Jeff.
A tall Shiar.
Hey!
Hey! You're not coming back.
Damn it.
Wow. I think that is the perfect place for us to end there. Oh, dear.
You have been listening to Casual Trek, a Nerd and Tie podcast, presented by Charlie Etheridge Nunn and Miles Reed Lobato. Music by Alfred Etheridge Nunn. Star Trek by Paramount. Not us. Not yet.